Good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen in Europe and in Los Angeles and America's. Good morning, afternoon to everybody. Uh, you are looking at Dr. Sam Osmanagich, one of the biggest researchers in pyramidology for past 20 years in Bosnia. Good evening, doctor. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Farman. I'm very glad to be with you today.
Um, Thank you, sir. And we are glad to have you, and we are happy that you joined us today. And Sam, Dr. Sam is Osmanagich is one of the is the person who has discovered the Bosnian pyramid and of the sun and the moon, and he is well known in the archaeology. And Dr. Sam, may I call you Dr. Sam? Is much easier for me.
Of course.
Right. So you back and forth between U.S. and Bosnia for your work. Is that true?
Well, that's true, Saeed. You see, for the last 20 something years, I've been living in Houston. But then last 7 years, since I discovered the pyramids in Bosnia, it's been a non-stop traveling between Houston and Sarajevo and Visoko in Bosnia. And I must say that I appreciate you pronouncing my last name correctly. It is indeed Dr. Sam Osmanagich. And you asked me to introduce myself. I'm an anthropology professor at the American University in Bosnia-Herzegovina. I'm running the Center for the Anthropological and Archaeological Research. My PhD is in Mayan studies. I have spent a considerable amount of time in the jungles of Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Mexico, and Belize, researching that marvelous civilization. Also, I am a foreign member of a very distinguished Russian Academy of Natural Sciences, a member of the Archaeological Society of Alexandria in Egypt. I'm the author of 14 books about the ancient civilizations and the pyramids, and they've been published on 3 continents. But the majority of my work is about the pyramids. In the last 20-25 years, I've been investigating this phenomena. And unlike most of the official historians, archaeologists, Egyptologists, who claim that the pyramids were built only on Egyptian and Mexican soil, I know that the pyramids were built on all 6 continents. And I have spent a lot of time finding a common ground for the pyramids worldwide. And right now I can say that almost everything they teach us in schools about the ancient history is wrong. The origin of man, civilizations, and pyramids. The pyramids in Egypt were not built as tombs for the pharaohs. The pyramids in Mexico were not built as the ceremonial centers to sacrifice the enemies. So once we realize that, and once we become aware that they are built on all continents, then we need to ask ourselves questions now in 21st century. Who are the real builders of the oldest and the most superior pyramids? Traveling all around the world and researching this phenomenon, I'm aware that, for example, in Peru, we have 300 pyramids. They are built in Bolivia, 13,000 feet above the sea level, like Alchemy Pyramid Complex. There are pyramids in Amazon, in Brazil, and they have not been touched yet. The pyramids in Asia, the leader is of course China, with over 250 pyramids in the central Chinese province of Shanxi. Then Cambodia, Indonesia, even the Korean peninsula, the Andong pyramids. Pyramids are built, of course, in an African continent. However, besides 155 pyramids on Egyptian soil, we have 224 in former Nubian kingdom, or today's northern Sudan. What they don't teach us in schools is the fact that the pyramids are built all around the African continent. To the north, on the Italian islands of Sicily, 43 of them, and Sardinia. To the west, on Canary Islands, we got dozens of pyramids on the biggest Canary Island, which is Tenerife. And to the east, in the middle of the Indian Ocean, on the island of Mauritius, 7 beautiful stepstone pyramids. Then pyramids are built in southern Europe, southern France, 5 complexes on Italian soil, of course the Bosnian pyramids, which are the largest pyramids on the planet, and even in North America. Besides the Mesoamerican pyramids, the Mayan in the first place, who built over 100,000 pyramids. We got pyramids on US soil. In southwestern part of the state of Illinois, over 200 pyramids in so-called Cahokia State Park. They call them mounds, but in reality, they are step pyramids, and instead only dirt. 4 types of construction materials were used: sandstone blocks, pebbles, rock, sand, and when those pyramids were completed, they would cut the squares of grass and soil, turn them upside down, and cover those pyramids. So in conclusion, 25 years of my work, travel, book writing, investigation, got me the conclusion that the world of the past was the world of the pyramids.
You mentioned that Pyramid of Mexico was not for sacrificial. And do you believe the Aztec and Mayans built that, or was older than that?
When it comes to the pyramids on Mexican soil, the official history is talking about the pyramids of Olmec civilization, Zapotec, Mayas, and finally Aztecs. Now, Olmecs is the name made up by the archaeologists and historians. They found Olmec stone heads that would represent those African black kings, and they built some pyramids. We actually don't know the name for that civilization. The Zapotecs, the same thing. In the central Mexico, we don't know who they really were. We know that cities like Monte Alban, beautiful pyramid cities, were built on the top of the mountains, but we don't know the real builders. When it comes to the Mayan civilization, we think that we know everything about them, and we cannot be more wrong than that. The Mayan civilization disappeared in the 10th century. No traces. When the Spanish conquerors came in the first quarter of the 16th century, they found some primitive Indians living in some Mayan cities. They asked them who built those cities. They said they didn't know, because for 600 years the original builders were long gone. So we don't really know the real name for something that we call the Mayas, but we do know that they built 100,000 pyramids, that advanced civilization. Unfortunately, in the last 35, 40 years, there is a trend in the historical science to call this civilization Neolithic tribes, Indians of Mesoamerica, people who belong to the Stone Age because they did not have any tools other than stone tools. And again, they are so wrong. That was a civilization with very advanced mathematics, geometry, astronomy, construction. And finally, the civilizations that we do know, that the Western people met, was the civilization of Aztec. Aztecs, comparing to the Mayans and the others before them, were much more primitive because they were doing the human sacrifices on their pyramids, and the Spanish conquerors witnessed that. But even with some elements of being rather primitive, they were more superior to the Spanish conquerors, with one problem: they did not have a military to face Spanish military. So when it comes to Mesoamerica, a lot of things to be discovered. 99% of Mayan pyramids have not been excavated.
Wow.
They are deep in the jungle, covered by the soil and vegetation. And one of the cities where the most pyramids have been cleared, like Palenque, in the Mexican state of Chiapas, they have 25 pyramids, but 1,430 pyramids are still deep in the jungle.
Oh my
so
God.
What do we know? 99% we don't know.
So it looks like it was a city of pyramids, and for some reason they built these, and they was it do you think some first of all, what would you age those pyramids to? I mean, carbon dating, or any historians can age those pyramids in Mexico?
Now in Mexico, we do have pyramids that belong to 4,000 BC to 1,000 before present. So we are talking about 4,000 or 5,000 years period. However, under the main Mayan cities like Tikal in northern Guatemala, Copan in western Honduras, Quirigua in eastern Guatemala, some Mayan cities in Chiapas, Tabasco, on Yucatan, we know that there are 2 or 3 cultural layers below what we can see by our own eyes. So probably we go very deep in the past. In some parts of Belize, the seeds that belong to the agricultural people, they take us 7,500 years before present. So it is much, much older than what they officially claim. Official claims are about 3,000 years age of the Mayan civilization. In reality, it's probably more than 7,000 years, and probably we can find connection between the Mayas and the cycle of humanity before this one, the last one. And very important point was the end of the last ice age, which happened 12,500 years ago. Until then, very advanced civilizations existed all over the planet. But then the global catastrophes came upon the earth, and 99% of humanity was wiped out forever. And it seems that we can find connection between the Mayas and some of those ancient civilizations. But even when we come back to, let's say, Egyptian soil, and when we talk about the age of those pyramids, what is officially accepted is that the oldest Egyptian pyramids is the step pyramid in Saqqara, 4,620 years. And the Egyptologists assigned this pyramid to the third dynasty, Pharaoh Djoser. However, under this pyramid, the network of tunnels and chambers were discovered with pieces of pottery that are 1,200 years older than the time of the Pharaoh Djoser. When we come to the so-called fourth dynasty pyramid builders, like the Cheops, which Egyptologists consider him as the builder of the Great Pyramid of Egypt, or Khafre, his son, or Mycere, his grandson. In reality, we do not have a single proof who really built those magnificent pyramids.
What is the
Inside,
oldest? May I ask you what's the oldest pyramid in the world?
well, of course, we will come to that. It will be the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun.
Oh my God! And the biggest also.
We will go back more than 25,000 years. But when we are talking about the Egyptian pyramids, instead of 4,600 or 4,500, we know now that they are much older than that. Namely, in Great Pyramid of Egypt, there is no mummy of the Pharaoh Cheops. In Khafre Pyramid, no mummy of Pharaoh Khafre, or Mycere, or Snefru, or Djoser. Of course, the pharaohs have been buried, but in the Valley of Kings, which is 200 miles to the south from the Giza Plateau. Secondly, we don't find any organic material that belong to the pharaonic dynasties. Number 3, no tools. Number 4, no hieroglyphic writings. Number 5, no symbols. Number 6, no paintings. Simply not a single proof about the age and builders of Egyptian pyramids, but the time will show that claims that the Egyptian pyramids were built by pharaohs is the biggest hoax in modern history.
Right on! I love that. I clap for that. You're a genius. Amazing. If you tell that in a History Channel or CNN to people, everybody will freak out. And this is good. This is good. So now we're getting somewhere. So so Giza pyramid, it was not Egyptian, and going back, would you say Atlantis?
The pyramids on the Giza Plateau were built by civilization more developed than Egyptian pharaonic society.
Definitely.
How do we know that? When you have 5 million tons of blocks, you would need more than 20 years, like the Egyptian pharaohs would live, reign, to build them. 5 million tons. The next thing, when you look at the length at the base of the pyramids in Egypt, it's 232 meters. Two lengths, 464. The height is 147 meters. We divide height by the two lengths. The result is 3.14. And every student in elementary school knows that this is a number pi, 3.14. But Egyptologists and historians will tell you that that number pi was invented by Pythagoras 2,000 years after the building of Great Pyramid of Giza. So the question is, how come you have this number pi incorporated in this pyramid? And in a very similar way, you will find out that the number 5, 1.6, golden ratio, is incorporated there. That the distance between our planet and the sun is in there. The distance between our planet and the moon is in there. Did ancient Egyptians have this knowledge? The answer is no. It was more developed civilization. A lot of shells on Giza Plateau, it's telling us that at some point in the past, the Giza Plateau was under the sea, Mediterranean Sea. When was the last time when the waters of Mediterranean Sea came to Giza Plateau 200 miles south from Alexandria? 12,500 years ago, and the salt was discovered in the Great Pyramid of Egypt. The shells were discovered there, meaning the pyramids were already there during the last flood. So now we are getting to the answer when those pyramids were built, more than 12,500 years ago, and 200 years of investigation of Egyptologists brought us back to the square one. We don't know who, when, or why built those pyramids.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Dr. Sam Osmanagich in Bosnia. He is one of the foremost researchers in pyramidology and archaeology in the world. He has studied over 200 pyramids in the world, in Mexico, Egypt, and Bosnia. He's the discoverer of Bosnian pyramid. And this is Alchemy Event, Said David Farman in Los Angeles, talking live with Bosnia. Yes, we are live, and it is January 5th, 2013. We are beyond the December 21st in 2012, and we are in a new age of new humanity and awakening and fifth dimensional earth. And we salute everybody out there. Please check our website, alchemyevent.com, and support us with your donations for our projects, since we would like to go to Bosnia and join Dr. Sam in his future digging. When are you going back to Bosnia, Doctor? I mean, when are you start digging again? July, was it?
Well, our project has become the most active archaeological site in the world. And what project we are talking about? Well, after I've spent more than 2 decades researching the pyramids all over the planet, in April of 2005, I came to the central Bosnian town of Visoko in southern Europe. The reason why? To visit the local museum. It had nothing to do with the pyramids. But when I came to this town, which is only 20 miles northwest from the capital city of Sarajevo, I was able to see the hill towering the town. And the hill had very peculiar geometry of the pyramid. You could see 4 sides of the hill. You could see triangular faces. You could see the corners, very obvious. And you could see the slope, which was the same from the bottom to the top, the same angle. So the geometry of the pyramid was there. Now the hill was covered by soil and vegetation. But have in mind that I've seen until then thousands of pyramids in China, Mexico, Guatemala, Salvador, Honduras, covered by soil and vegetation. I took compass to my hand, and compass showed me that the sides of the pyramid perfectly matched the cardinal points, east, west, north, and south. And that's how the pyramidal structures were built. You build the structure in the shape of the pyramid, and you orient those sides towards the cardinal points, and most importantly, towards the north. The same way 250 pyramids in China were built, thousands of them in Peru, in Egypt. The oldest pyramids in Egypt were built with the orientation to the north. So far, we thought that the best orientation is the northern side of the Great Pyramid of Egypt. The error in the perfect north is 0 degrees, 0 minutes. 0 degrees and 2 minutes. 2 minutes only. That's just the fraction of 1 degree. Well, when I saw this hill in Bosnia, I said it has to be artificial structure. Mother Nature simply does not make hills with 4 sides, triangular faces, and perfect orientation. And we had the Bosnian State Institute for Geodesy, and their team came with the instruments to measure the orientation. And the conclusion was the northern star, the northern side of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, had an error from the perfect north of 0 degrees, 0 minutes, and 12 seconds. So that was the best precise orientation ever. Of course, I knew that the builders of that Bosnian pyramid were very skilled. Well, in the last 7 years, from 2012 to now 2013, we have started this archaeological but also interdisciplinary scientific project in Bosnia. And for the first time, it is not the Department of Archaeology running such a huge project. It is not the National Museum. It is not Ministry of Culture, people who are paid to do their job, but non-profit foundation, which I established in 2005 under the name Archaeological Park Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun Foundation. For the first time, it is a group of enthusiasts, people who love the research, who love the pyramids, and who love their own country, spending their time, energy, and money in this exciting project. And I can tell you that in the last 7-8 years, we have spent over 300,000 hours on archaeological excavation, sample testing, lab analysis, radiocarbon dating, and we have concluded that in the town of Visoko, we have 5 pyramids, which we name the Bosnian Pyramids of the Sun, Moon, Dragon, Earth, and Love, with a huge underground network of tunnels and chambers, and the whole complex we name the Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids. Unlike any other archaeological project, which lasts usually 15 days or 30 days with 10-15 people and 1 archaeologist, we've managed to grow this project to 500 volunteers every year who come to the heart of Bosnia, which was previously known as the country of war and the violence and all the negative news. Now it's becoming the country of archaeology, cultural heritage, tourism, volunteers, and positive news. Besides volunteers, we have dozens of experts, archaeologists, geologists, geophysicists, energy phenomenon experts, pedologists, biologists, and so on. And people feel that they change the history with this discovery, being a very important and active part in it.
Dr. Osmanagich, can you tell us your website for the audience, please?
Our website is bosnianpyramidofthesun.com. bosnianpyramidofthesun.com. The website is in, of course, Bosnian, Croatian, Serbian, English, German, French, Spanish, and little Arabic. We want to make this place belong to everyone. You see, in Egypt, Egyptologists and their Supreme Council for Antiquities They are exclusive in investigation of those pyramids. In China, only the Chinese have the access. The same thing all over the planet. But in our case, we said, hey, this is the cultural heritage of the world. We don't want elite science here. We want to stay open for everyone. And indeed, we have invited everyone to join us. People don't need to be professional archaeologists or experts. They can be good intentional people and join us, working under expert supervision. So we are opening a complete new door in the world of science and especially in the world of archaeology.
And the Pyramid of the Sun, the biggest one in Bosnia, is 700 and how many feet?
The Pyramid of the Sun is so far the tallest, the largest, the biggest pyramid on the planet. When we talk about, let's say, Chinese pyramids, the biggest one is about 200 feet. When we talk about the pyramids in Teotihuacan in Mexico, their Pyramid of the Sun is 74 meters or about 225 feet. The biggest Mayan pyramid is in El Mirador in northern Guatemala, about 330 feet. The biggest Egyptian pyramid, the Great Pyramid of Egypt, is 147 meters or about 470 feet. And the biggest Bosnian pyramid, the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, is over 720 feet. So this is officially the biggest pyramidal structure on the planet, which gives a special light to this discovery. So now we have the first pyramids in Europe and the largest on the planet. Even the second biggest in Bosnia, the Bosnian Pyramid of the Moon, is 190 meters in height, which is approximately 600 feet,
Wow.
higher than the biggest Egyptian pyramids. So that's why this discovery and the news was really a big shock to the archaeological community. Now, besides the 5 pyramids, we have the most extensive tunnel network under any pyramid complex in the world. We do have tunnels under Giza pyramids. We do have tunnel network under Step Pyramid in Saqqara in Egypt. We have tunnels under Chinese pyramids in Shanxi. We have tunnels under Teotihuacan pyramid in Mexico, and the Mayan pyramids in Palenque, but such extensive network that runs for tens of miles we first encountered in Bosnia. Also a very important element, when you start removing the layers of soil and dirt from the pyramids, you are finding rectangular blocks. Some of them 16,000 pounds, some of them 80,000 pounds. We took samples from those blocks and sent them to 6 different institutes for materials in Bosnia, in Italy, in France. And we asked them to tell us if it was a natural material or artificially made. Their conclusion, it was a man-made concrete.
Wow.
There are 2 properties that determine the quality of concrete. One is hardness. The harder the material, the better the quality. Our concretes in 21st century are in the range from 10 to 60 megapascals. 60 megapascals are custom-made concrete in Germany and the US only. But the samples from the Bosnian pyramids are in the range from 73 to 134 megapascals. That's the best quality concrete ever. And the second property of the concrete is the water absorption. If the water can get into the concrete block during the winter, it freezes and then it breaks. So the idea is to keep the water out of the concrete. So our norms require only up to 3% of water absorption. And in Bosnian pyramids, it is only 1% superior. So now we are in the presence of huge findings. We have a concrete, not Roman concrete, which is only 2,000 years, and people thought that the Romans, ancient Romans, invented concrete over 2,000 years ago. But we have the concrete from the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, much older, much better quality than what we can make today.
What is the, may I ask you, what is the carbon dating on the age of the pyramid?
This summer, June of 2012, we were removing the layers of soil from the concrete blocks. And between the dirt and on top of the concrete blocks, we discovered an organic material. When we analyzed it, we concluded it was a fossilized leaf. So the structure was there, the wind was blowing, bringing that leaf on the top of the concrete blocks. Now we knew that this organic material will give us the minimum age of the pyramid because the pyramid was already there. We sent this organic material to the radiocarbon dating lab in Kiev, Ukraine, and their conclusion was that the age of organic material was 24,800 years plus minus 200 years.
Wow.
So now, in the 25,000 years, we are coming to the oldest pyramid on the planet. So, Saeed, everything we touch in this project changes our view of human history forever. Number one, the first pyramids in Europe. Number two, the largest on the planet. Number three, the most precise orientation of the sites on the planet. Number four, the best quality concrete ever. Number five, the oldest pyramids on the planet. Now imagine the shock for every archaeologist who's been taught the old way. They've been telling them, hey, pyramids are only in Egypt, they were pharaonic tombs, 4,500 years, end of the story.
Israeli slaves build them. That's another joke.
It's a shame what they've been telling us, that hundreds of thousands of slaves, unskilled slaves, built pyramids. People will be laughing at us 50 years from now, what we believed and what they've been teaching our kids. But this discovery of Bosnian pyramids and several others will force people to rewrite the history books, meaning the PhDs are not good anymore, professorships also. The way they teach our kids is wrong. It's time for the new era.
Who changed the history? Is it Romans or Vatican changed the? They buried all our archaeological stuff under their Vatican. They say you go 20 level down and subterraneans under Vatican, so you got millions of archaeological artifacts and books and stuff hidden. Who changed the history? Chinese did, or I don't know, Russians did? Who did?
The history is written by the elites. Elites adjust what they write in history books to their interests. And their interest is to tell us that there is only one cycle in humanity. They tell us humanity is only 7,000 years old. Everything started with Sumer, Babylon, Akkad, Assyria, ancient Egypt, ancient India. But in reality, it's just the last cycle. Before this one, we had another one, which ended 12,500 years ago. And another one, which ended 18,000 years ago. And another one, which ended 55,000 years ago. And another one, 75,000 years ago. They want to show the humanity as a newborn baby. Without the roots, you need to give your freedom to the elites, political, religious, economical, financial, because they know better than we do. Nonsense.
And we've been hearing that they're defeating the Bosnian pyramids with advertising, huh? With their politicians and all the. What are they doing to defeat your purpose?
Well, when we started our project in Bosnia, very soon it became very popular. You know, a lot of media then came in April of 2006. It was breaking news. Then ABC came. They did 30-minute documentary, 30-minute special. BBC and all regional and other medias. A lot of tourists came. But then the cultural establishment from Bosnia first felt very threatened. Professors of archaeology and history from University of Sarajevo attacked us, saying there are no pyramids there. People from the National Museum attacked us, saying they knew the terrain and no pyramids because Bosnia did not have pharaohs or slaves. The Ministry of Culture attacked us. They wrote petition against us, asking the government to stop the project. The Bosnian Prime Minister came in 2006, and when he saw those rectangular blocks, he said, "This is man-made concrete." He saw thousands of tourists coming. He said, "This is good for the tourism and economy. Mr. Osmanagich, keep doing what you're doing and don't worry about the jealous scientists." Now they got upset. They wrote a letter to the head of European Archaeological Association, Dr. Anthony Harding in London. They asked him to help them to stop the project. So he started writing against us. A lot of those articles published in the US and the UK are still on internet. He was saying, "Oh, this is the biggest and cruel hoax, no pyramids, blah, blah, blah." And then he never stopped. He organized the second petition, signed by 85 leading American and British archaeologists, historians, geologists, anthropologists, asking the Bosnian government to stop the project. And their petition was rejected. Now they got upset. So they sent the letters to the National European Archaeological Association in Germany, France, Italy, Croatia, Bosnia, asking them to boycott the project of Bosnian pyramids, threatening archaeologists if they do go to Bosnian pyramid site, they will never be able to find the job when they get back to their countries. So, 2006, I did not have archaeologists from Europe. What did I do? I asked the government of Egypt to help us and sent 3 experts. And they did. The first one to come was a very distinguished geologist and archaeologist, Dr. Ali Barakat, with 40 years of experience in archaeology and geology. He wrote the book about the Egyptian pyramids. He was on National Geographic. He came to Bosnia, spent 42 days with us, wrote a scientific report, which he read at a press conference on June 23, 2006, in Sarajevo. He ended his report with the words, "The Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is a man-made pyramid." A big boost for us, a slap in the face for Bosnian cultural establishment. The same day, June 23rd, from the Bosnian National Museum, the letter is going to Cairo to Dr. Barakat's boss, the guy who was in charge of Supreme Council of Antiquities, Dr. Zahi Hawass, the famous pharaoh of the last 20 years. And in this letter, Bosnian people from the museum claimed, they said, "Your man was in Bosnia and he confirmed the existence of Bosnian pyramids. It's impossible. You need to do everything to stop him. So Dr. Havas organized trilateral meeting in Cairo between the Ministry of Tourism, Ministry of Culture, and his Supreme Council of Antiquities with one topic on agenda: the effects of the Bosnian pyramid discovery to the tourism in Egypt. Every year, 8 million people come to visit Egyptian pyramids, and they leave $15.5 billion to Egyptian economy. Now imagine 20% of the tourists, instead of going to Egypt, coming to Bosnia. Now, majority of the tourists in Egypt are from Europe, and Bosnia just happened to be on European soil as well. Saeed, 20% of $15.5 billion is over $3 billion.
Nice.
Discovery.
It's all
Discovery
about money,
of Bosnian pyramids.
Yes. They think numbers and dollars. That's all they do. And
Exactly. Discovery of Bosnian pyramids is not a local scientific issue. It's a global scientific, economical, and political issue. So now you are becoming aware why so many people from Sarajevo to London, from Boston to Cairo, have been against us. Because if you need to change all that, all the history books, if you need to redistribute the tourism dollars, it's too big of the change. It was much easier for all of them to try to stop a little foundation and one little guy in Bosnia.
yeah, you changing the history of man by presenting new evidence, and that's against their policy. So let me ask you this: is the measurements on Pyramid of the Sun is based on number 5 and golden ratio also?
Now, when it comes to the Pyramid of the Sun in Bosnia, but also all other major pyramids, we have noticed that the irrational numbers are very important. Number pi is irrational number. It is 3.141592653589 and so on. It never ends. Golden ratio. In the case of Bosnian pyramids, we have root of number 2 and root of number 3, 142, 171. They are also irrational number. Why? The ancient people would incorporate irrational number because they consider them alive. They never end. Why? Because they consider the pyramids alive. And now we are coming to a very important topic, the real purpose of the pyramids. Those original structures in China, Egypt, Mexico, Peru, or Bosnia were not built as a home for a one dead body. They were built for the living communities, for generations to come. Now, in Bosnia, after 5-6 years of our research, we've proven that we have construction complex. You have the shapes of pyramid, you have concrete, you have inner passageways, you have underground tunnels, you have orientation, everything is there. But in order to answer the question, what was the real purpose of pyramids? Archaeologists, geologists, Egyptologists could not help us. We asked the help from the experts for the energy phenomena, the physicists and the electrical engineers. The end of 1960s, Egypt, Giza Plateau, Egyptologists invited Japanese geophysicists to help them find the chamber with the Khafre's body, the pharaoh's body. So, Those physicists are coming with their equipment. They did not find hidden passageways or bodies or mummies. But what they did find out was that every 10 minutes, the energy field of the pyramid changes. They were shocked. They said this pyramid acts as the energy machine. After that, Egyptologists threw them out of the country. They said, we don't need you to look for the energy phenomena. We want you to find us a mummy of the pharaoh. After that, Egyptians never allowed physicists or geophysicists to do the research because they are proving that their theories about the tombs was all wrong. Well, 50 years after, in Bosnia, we have free invitation for the physicists from all over the planet. They are coming from Croatia, Serbia, Finland, Italy. They come with their instruments. And the first one to come was the physicist from Zagreb, Croatia, Dr. Slobodan Mizrak. He came with his 10-member teams and the instruments. They were looking for the electromagnetic anomalies. They were checking nearby hills. They were going around the pyramid of the sun, no anomalies. Until they came to the very top. I was there with them. On the very top and at the center of the plateau, they detected and measured electromagnetic field in the radius of 13 feet of 28 kilohertz frequency. They got out from this radius of 13 feet, no detection. They went back again. They detected it. What did it mean? It meant there was some type of the energy beam going up, not left or right on the surface, but going up. 28 kilohertz frequency is the frequency that Mother Nature does not generate. It takes machine to generate this particular frequency. Since then, we have measured this energy beam during the summer, fall, winter, and spring, meaning it is continuous, does not stop. And then what we did, we measured the strength of the signal on the surface, 10 feet higher, and another 10 feet higher. Every time when we would go higher, the strength of the signal was stronger. Now the physicists are shocked. If the source of the signal was inside or below the pyramid, our conventional science tells us that closer to the signal, the stronger the signal. If you move away, the signal is getting weaker. But since in Bosnia, everything is upside down, our pyramids work differently. You move away from the pyramid, the signal is getting stronger. Our conventional theory can be called Hertzian theory or Hertzian technology. But what we have on the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is something that we can call non-Hertzian technology or non-Hertzian waves. In the 21st century, we do not have technology based on the non-Hertzian waves. However, the guy who was born 250 miles to the west from Bosnian pyramids experimented with this type of technology in 1899 and 1900 in his lab in Colorado Springs. And his name was Nikola Tesla. In his lab, Tesla invented what is today called Tesla's coil.
Yeah.
He was a transformer. He was able to produce an energy beam and send it wirelessly to the other end of his lab, 55 feet away, and he would lit up the light bulb, even if it was burned. Well, just before they are going to burn down his lab in Colorado Springs, he made his last experiment. He was producing energy beam with his Tesla's coil, sending them to the ionosphere around our planet.
Right.
And then those energy beams would reflect from ionosphere coming back to our planet, but much stronger, non-Hertzian effect. And then he would lit up 10,000 homes in Colorado Springs. So for the first time during our cycle of humanity, somebody proved that clean energy was possible, that unlimited quantities of energy were possible, that non-Hertzian energy was possible, that wireless transportation was possible, that free energy was possible.
Oh, now you're touching the point. Now you're touching the point, the free energy.
So, did American corporations accept this invention?
No.
Of course not. How would they sell the free energy?
Yeah, they wanted to charge, that's why they went with Edison.
So they were building the hydro plants, the thermal power plants, the nuclear power plants nowadays, spending a lot of money. And then they were transporting through those cables, losing 20 to 50% of energy, so they can sell it to us, to you and me, for a lot of money. And that's the base of the profit economy. But one day, and that day will come, the humanity will have advantage of the free energy. And with the free energy, we will have the first pillar of the free society. The second pillar is the free flow of knowledge. With those two pillars, you have the base for the society of free women and free men. And guess what? 114 years after Tesla's work, we have the same type of work here in the central Bosnia. The Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is the first energy machine, perpetual motor machine, that's been working for 25,000 years, producing a free energy. And our project is giving an example of the free flow of knowledge. No secrets, no elites.
Watching the YouTube videos on your channel, I forgot the channel name you have on YouTube. What is it?
Well, one has to go to our website and there is a banner for the foundation's YouTube TV channel. But if somebody browse like YouTube Bosnian Pyramids, they'll be able to find this channel. We have about 100 videos there.
Yeah, and I found out there's a healing powers inside the...
Exactly right. You see, not only that we have such tremendous structures above the surface, but also below the ground. In 2005, I discovered the network of underground tunnels, and as a matter of fact, in the first books that I written about the Bosnian pyramids, I announced that we were going to discover underground labyrinth, and I based that on my experience with the Chinese, Egyptian, or Mexican pyramids. A lot of people attacked me at this time. They were saying what he's talking about, the first pyramids and now underground tunnels. Well, 7 years later, we have about 1,050 yards, over 3,000 feet of those prehistorical underground tunnels. We discovered 6 chambers so far. Now, the tunnels were built in the material called conglomerate. Conglomerate consists of pebbles, rocks, and sand. So when they removed a lot of material to build the tunnels, what did they do with the material? Well, even today, For our concrete, we use pebbles and rocks and sand. All they needed was binding material, and they used clay as the binder. So we can see a direct link between the tunnels and the pyramid. So now, they built the tunnels. What was the purpose? It's not 1, 2, 3 tunnels just to connect pyramids. So it was not the communication. It is underground, labyrinth. Every 10, 15 feet you have intersections with a lot of side tunnels. So we were able to measure electromagnetic field inside those tunnels, 28 kilohertz frequency. We were able to detect and measure ultrasound. Ultrasound is something that we cannot hear, but we can measure it. And ultrasound is good for our body because it kills microbes. It does not damage our healthy cells. And then we were able to measure a very high concentration of negative ions. Negative ions are very important because they are very beneficial to our body. In your office or my room, the concentration of negative ions is very low. It's approximately 100 per square centimeter, per cubic centimeter. In outside the cities, big cities, it's about 400 negative ions per cubic centimeter. In the villages, with the fresher air, it's about 1,000. And on the top of the mountains, who deem to be the most healthiest places on the planet, it's about 4,000 negative ions per cubic centimeter. Well, we measured the concentration of negative ions in our tunnels using ionometer. At the entrance, 400, 500. You get inside, 1,000. You go deeper, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. In the first underground chamber, approximately 800 feet from the entrance, we measured 20,000 negative ions per cubic centimeter, 5 times healthier than any other planet in the nature, forests included. So, it seems that somebody has built underground healing facility. In the last couple of years, as we are going deeper and securing more and more tunnels for tourists, we have noticed a lot of testimonies from tourists, from volunteers, from media, from workers, about the healing powers of the tunnels. People come with asthma, using those pumps, they cannot breathe. But once they spend 2 hours in tunnels, they start breathing, they don't need those pumps anymore or medicine. People come with allergies. After 2 hours, they are allergy free. People come with headaches, with back pains. They got back healed. We did a little study measuring human aura, the bioenergy field around human body, before they entered the tunnels and after they came back. We did a study on 109 samples, male, female, old, young. And we've noticed that in 85% of the cases, there was an aura improvement. And the improvement was from 10% to 40%. In most cases, we wouldn't even tell people why we are screening them for this aura reading. But in one particular case, we did. We told the young student from Zagreb, Croatia, what we were doing. So what he did, he went inside, stayed for 2 hours. He was meditating in one of the chambers. When he came back, his aura improvement was 40%. So it seems that the ancients built this underground structure in order to protect what is the most important and the most valuable. It's not a treasure, but it is a health. You know, When we are young, Saeed, we have probably 1,000 wishes. But as we are getting older and getting grays in our hair, we have only one wish: to stay healthy with a prolonged life.
That's right.
So now we are coming to the answer. What was the real purpose of pyramids and underground tunnels? They are not built for one dead body, they were built for the living generations. With the pyramids, they would have a huge amount of energy, continuous energy. And with the underground labyrinth, the place where they would raise their immunity and keep themselves healthy.
And why would they build so many subterranean tunnels? Do you think they survived in there in a probably cold?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it is linked with the energy. You see, we were thinking, what was the source of the pyramid power and pyramid energy? The pyramid itself does not produce energy from nothing. The ancients were very wise. They knew the power of this geometrical shape. When you place the pyramid above energy source, the pyramid acts as the amplifier. My two Russian colleagues, Professor Oleg Kavroshky and Professor Vladislav Tsiplakov from the Schmidt Institute from Moscow, we measured the energy phenomena in the case of Egyptian and Bosnian pyramids, and we concluded that when you compare the signal at the bottom of the pyramid and on the top, the signal on the top is 50 to 500 times stronger, meaning the pyramid amplifies the energy. And now the next question is, where the energy is coming from? Well, after we did some lab analysis, we concluded that approximately 1.5 miles, or exactly 2,440 meters below the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, there was a huge iron plate. As we know, iron generates its own electromagnetic field. What the pyramid does, it sucks this energy, amplifying it. The second source of energy is magnetic energy. In the core of our planet, there is a magma producing magnetic energy. The pyramid is getting this magnetic energy, amplifying it. There is a lot of underground water flows below Bosnian Valley of the Pyramids. Between the water flows, the electricity generates. We know that today. The pyramids is amplifying this electricity. The next thing, when the water moves, it generates negative ions. So all these different forms of energy, the pyramid amplifies. And when they go through all these tunnels, and that would be the answer to your question, you have all these energy flows going through pyramids, coming continuous and very, very powerful and strong. So now we can see how advanced the ancient builders were. They knew how to manipulate the energies. And that's the answer we need today. Besides what we do today. Last couple of 100 years, we've been using coal miners producing coal, which is dirty form of energy. We have dirty industry all over the planet. The same thing with the oil and gas. These are all limited quantities. Instead of limited, you had advanced civilization who was using these very powerful energy sources, and they were continuous. So now, this way, we are coming to the end of our program. Dear Saeed, we have answered the question, what was the purpose of pyramids, proving that they were built by more advanced civilizations. So at this point, I invite all the listeners to join us in any form. They can come as tourists, as volunteers, as people who support this project that change the human history forever, but also with the potential to change our future forever. So our website www.bosnianpyramidofthesun.com, and I hope to see you guys in a beautiful country of Bosnia.
Wow, this is a great opportunity to open new doors for finding out what's happening in Bosnian pyramids. And so your Bosnian tour, next one, will begin what date exactly?
Now, in Bosnia, all our archaeological sites are open year round. During the winter, because of snow, people come and visit the tunnels, getting the healing aspects. But during the summer, June, July, August, September, the volunteers are there, the tourists are there. It's excellent time to come and visit Bosnia. And on our website, we advertise two tours. One is in June for the summer solstice. It's a 1 week. People will come and see a lot of Bosnia, Medjugorje, the place of Virgin Mary, Sarajevo, the capital city, Mostar with the famous beach, but also Bosnian pyramids of the sun and the moon and the dragon and underground labyrinth and tumulus. And finally, we will be waiting for the summer solstice on the top of the biggest pyramid on the planet. And the second event will be the first week in September, and that's our conference. We call it Hidden History Conference, with people like J.J. Hertag, Klaus Donau of Austria, and the others. Again, for 1 week, we will be showing them the Bosnian pyramid sites, and the Bosnia as a whole, but also they will be able to hear all the news about the Bosnian pyramids and the pyramids around the world. So I would say the pyramid science is becoming the most exciting science in the world in the 21st century.
And I would like to let audience know that you're coming to Los Angeles and join us on our next event, March 23rd and 4th, a few months from now, 2013, in Los Angeles, Saturday, Sunday, March 23rd and 4th. And you joining us for lectures on the Bosnian pyramids, and people can come and see you and see your books there and shake your hand, and you sign your books to them. That would be wonderful to meet you there. And people can go to alchemyevent.com to see more news about that and the event, ALCHEMYEVENT.com. Our second website, alienshift.com, regarding ET disclosure, ALIENSHIFT.com. And once again, what was your website? Was Pyramid of the Sun, Bosnian.
So it's Bosnian pyramidofthesun.com. Bosnian pyramidofthesun.com.
And people can visit there and contact you for anything. They can also contact us any questions or future events we can have with you. We would like to join you in Bosnian trip and visit the pyramids in Bosnia and video log it or have more discoveries, get healed, get younger and more energetic like you, and and so this is a great opportunity for people to find out today that these pyramids were built as power points, power energy centers in the earth, and not burial chambers, according to what you said. And also, is there any last thing you would like to add that before we leave would be wonderful?
The knowledge belongs to all of us.
That's right. That is correct. And they twist it and change it and hide it. They steal the elongated skulls in Peru out of museums. They buy the Egyptologists sometimes with whatever they offer them, or they steal artifacts. They put them in Vatican walls. You know, all this stuff cannot change our history. Our history is well written in stone, right?
Exactly right.
It's written in Giza Plateau and Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. So hopefully we meet you March 23rd, 4th in Los Angeles, and wonderful to have you, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
God bless. Thank you.